Hey, you're listening to Hank's Corner with Hank Jr. and Chloe Halpin today. Thank you so much for being here, and you should check out my newest single, Silver Chevrolet, on all streaming services.
Everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. You know me, I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and of course, podcasting. And I am definitely excited about 2026. We have kicked it off right. And this is purely coincidence that we're doing this. There's no actual pattern to this. We did have Chloe Ray on my first episode of the year last. Now we got a different Chloe. Please welcome to the show, Chloe Halpin. Chloe, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Hank. How are you?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. Like I said, it's just by coincidence how it lined up, but it may be the year of the Chloes.
That's awesome. I think it is. It's the year we're taking over this year.
But of course, check out the spelling because the last spelling was different. When we make sure that we, promote you and put you on social media, there it is. Of course, we got the website listed below. But how are you doing, Chloe?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm right now. I'm in Nashville still. I just got done doing a great week of gigs down here. Got to do the writers rounds. Played some awesome venues that I love. Some new ones too. That was really cool. But yeah, I'm just riding high right now. Had a great week of music.
Yeah, I did get to see that. It's all over your social media that you're in Nashville now. And, I'm excited, honestly, because I just found out that I might be able to get to Nashville the end of February. I always like getting back up there. And, every time I see these pictures and stuff, I always crave it more. But yeah, you said you played at some, great venues. One of them that I like is the Local. Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, it was actually my first time getting to play at the Local, which is insane because this August will be 10 years since I made the move to Nashville for college. And if you've ever listened to me talk in a podcast before or an interview, I talk very openly about how I wish I would have gotten out and played more in college. But all I can do now is just try and make up for it. So I finally got to play the Local and it was so much fun. There's just something about that room. I've been a bunch of times. I love watching the rounds there. So that was a really awesome just really heart-filling experience to get to do that. So thank you to Nashville Tour Stop and Aaron for inviting me out to that. I know I was a last minute kind of snuck in there filling, so I'm really excited that I got that opportunity to do that this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a great spot. And it's one of those ones that is not right there, where everybody goes on Broadway. You have to go travel off to that. And there's a few spots that I like that because it's a little different. And although you can find it, potentially in some places on Broadway, Broadway is a little bit more a party atmosphere. And when you get to go to some of these songwriters rounds, they can be a little different. And for those who haven't been, Chloe, explain to us what a songwriters round is, because I know you're heavily into songwriting. So this works out great for you, but what specifically is a songwriter's round?
So I love getting to explain what it is, especially to people that have never heard of it before. I usually like to ask them first, what do they picture when they hear the word writer's round? And usually they're pretty spot on and they'll picture what the Bluebird authentically is, who, as far as I know, created writer's rounds. The Bluebird has a circle in the center of the room where the 4 to 5 artists, depending on how many are there singing that night, they sit in a little circle and they face each other and everybody goes in a round one by one, taking turns playing their songs. And as they've expanded throughout the city and even across the country, because they're all over now, writers' rounds, they're usually on a stage presented, sometimes in a restaurant, just kind of there. But you'll have a stage set up and usually it's anywhere more than one songwriter on a stage. It could be 2, it could be 7. I've seen giant ones going on and they're just so filled with love and music, but everyone just kind of goes down the line and around and they take their turn. And it's an opportunity for writers to not only share the songs they wrote, but talk about the process writing it, talk about what happened in their life that inspired the big idea that became that process, talk about the co-writers that they wrote it with. I've been doing so much more co-writing coming down here these last few trips. And I really found my niche people to work with and I love it. It's just so community building. uplifting. And yeah, the writers rounds. There's some in Nashville too that even the co-writers round. I've never done it, but I love it. They let you get up there with your co-writers and you can play each other's songs. You can jam along with each other. They're just a great sense of community for the songwriters.
Yeah, I definitely like them, and it's very unique because, like you said, you get to play your own songs, the songs that you have written. You're not forced to play covers like somewhere else there in
No
Nashville. You
wagon
get to play
wheel.
your own music, and and I definitely love it. Really, though, the only thing that I have against it sometimes is that they only allow sometimes, time for 3 to 4 songs for each artist. And I walk away
Yeah.
wanting more, especially when it's a new artist that I just, found. And I'm like, oh, I really like them. And I only got to hear 3 songs. So that's the
Yeah.
only downside to me. But it definitely is a little bit more intimate, personal. And you get to hear the backstory, which is what I like doing here on Hank's Corner, finding up all the backstories. And one of the ones I really want to find out about is your most recent song, Silver Chevrolet, because it's a very unique song. And the lyrics there, I listened to them and I read them and I'm like, look, Chloe, tell me what's going on there.
I am a very literal writer. I like having double meanings and hidden messages in songs, but there's not too much behind it. I write what happened and what I experienced. And what happened was I had a falling out with a friend, and that stuff happens in life. But I'm an emotional person. I'm going to write about it. So the friend happened to drive a certain kind of make and model of a silver Chevrolet, and it had only been maybe like 2 months since I had decided to no longer be friends with this person. I was in a completely different state too, but I drove into a parking lot and I parked. I was actually parking next to someone that I knew, which I think is even funnier. But I parked next to this car and it was the exact same vehicle that the friend had driven. And I started crying a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it would hit me like that, but it did. And I'm an emotional person. I cry all the time. And this person was such a good friend that they were the kind of person I would call when I would cry, and you have those emotions. So I just kind of sat in my car there for a minute and I wrote down, I want to tell you all the reasons I cried today. I parked next to a silver Chevrolet. And I got home and I sat with it and I was like, all right, let's figure this out. And I just went back to all the memories of like, when you're young, you're hanging out with friends, going to bars, doing all that stuff, having that safe place of your house and kind of like that friendship of like the show Friends, like where you're like buddies are always over and all that. So I just took as much imagery from my experience with that situation and very literally just wrote down what happened. And then I never thought much of the song. It was kind of this like, I'm going to pull up the lyrics just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But it was kind of this like, all right, it's definitely got a real country vibe to it. It's that standard, 3 chords and the truth. I'm a firm believer in that. And it is 3 chords and the truth. So we brought it to my producer, this wonderful woman, Cynthia Daniels, up in New York. And I don't know how familiar some people listening would be with studio musicians versus like your touring band. But a lot of producers like to use studio musicians when they record, and then you have your band replicate it out on tour. For these songs, the 2 that I did last year, really wanted to bring in my players that play these songs out with me. They kind of help me bring them to life anyway. So let's bring those parts in. Those are what the fans are going to recognize. So we brought them in the studio and we did Velvet Rabbit, kind of knowing exactly where we were going with that. But Silver Chevrolet, I was like, guys, let's just feel this out. Just breathe it all in together and see where it takes us. We ended up adding the harmonica and it was just this really cool like train feeling I had on it, like you're running away. And that's how I felt. I was like, I'm running a fight or flight. I'm a flyer. Get me out of there. So everything was making sense as it was happening. There's a timpani roll hidden in the song. That's for the music nerds. If you can find it, let me know. I'm proud of that roll. I think it just adds this like wind sound of like you're washing it all away. And then this bridge opens up. We created that in the studio together with the producer. I call it the Chevrolet ad, the bridge, because we're singing just the word Chevrolet over and over again. And it's building though in this really magnificent way that opens up a final chorus. The harmonies are beautiful. It's me and my mom doing harmonies. And I just love it. It's one of those songs that I'm a firm believer that humanity can't be replaced, and there's so much humanity in the way that we recorded that song. And I'm so I'm so glad that we took a chance on it and brought it into the studio.
Yeah, I know I'm definitely liking it. And, like I said, I did kind of want to know the backstory, and you pretty much laid it out there. It is based on a true story. And, one of the other things too is, other than, don't ever piss off a songwriter, because you never know when you might be referenced. But it is really, no matter how you look at it, good, bad, sad, however sometimes a relationship ends, how things like vehicles or a shirt or a song will trigger memories about good times, bad times, or whatever it may be. And way to put that into the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
bands too, like you can, like a song or a specific band, TV shows, anything really.
yeah, definitely. And let's go ahead and hear Silver Chevrolet here on Hank's Corner.
I wanna tell you all the reasons I cried today. How I accidentally parked next to a silver Chevrolet. Well, I can't remember if the years coincide. Never mind, I was numb the whole drive away. To be honest, I had to stop myself again. I keep wanting to call with something new to recommend, like a show, a song, or anything red and blue. 'Cause neon lights fade to purple in a smoky room. I'm so sick of little white line lights and making myself manic on a Monday night. Well, don't try to understand, it'll come in time. I'm thinking paranoid when I get high. I think about the breakdowns, the beer and the bars, your silver Chevrolet in the backyard. Well, I need about an ounce to put me down. I hope you took care of my house, 'cause I'm so sick of little white line lights and making myself manic on a Monday night. Well, don't try to understand, it'll come in time. I'm thinking paranoid when I get high. Chevrolet, 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 Chevrolet. 'Cause I'm so sick of little white line lights and making myself manic on a Monday night. But don't try to understand, it'll come in time. I'm thinking paranoid when I get high. I wanna tell you all the reasons I cried today. How I accidentally parked next to a silver Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Chloe Halpin. And, we're having a good time finding out the backstory. And that's what I like, hearing these backstories, because I didn't know that it was your mom that was singing with you on that.
It's funny. You said before you liked drinking alone. I have a couple acoustic tracks that are out. One of those acoustic tracks is called High Expectations. And there's a cello part on the outro. That's my sister actually recording that. I come from a very musical family on my mom's side. She's a worship minister. My sister played cello in college. She majored in music at the University of Kentucky. So I'm just so blessed to not only have it running in my blood, but also to have close family members, a good relationship with them, that we can create this art together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to get a little bit more into your history, because you do have a great history. And like you said, that, it comes from a church ministry as well, that kind of ties in there. So looking forward to hearing that. But before we do that, and one more thing, if Chevrolet is by chance listening, let's get Chevrolet on board and, maybe pick this song up for one of the commercials. Wouldn't that be great?
I tag them in post. So I'm like, come on, guys, listen to the bridge.
Yeah, that would definitely be awesome. So if we can make that happen, anybody knows somebody that works there at Chevrolet can make it happen, let's do it. But before I learn a little bit more about you, I want to play the game that I always like playing, Two Truths and a Lie. Sure, you played it before. It's a great game to get to know people. But basically how it goes is you're going to give me 3 statements, 2 of them being true, 1 of them being a lie, any order that you want. And without asking too many probing questions, by the end of the podcast, I'm going to have to figure out which ones are the truth and which ones are the lie. So if you want to play.
Are you ready?
Yeah, give me 3 statements.
All right. My first statement is that I have been to 7 foreign countries, not including the U.S. My second one is that the first song I ever wrote was called My Thunder. And my last statement is that I taught myself how to crochet before age 14.
All right. So these are going to be kind of tricky, because when people start throwing in numbers like that, it could be off by 1 number and all of a sudden it makes it false. I remember this in high school, where you had to pay real close attention and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds true. But no, it wasn't, because it was off by 1. But I got to figure out, if you've been to 7 foreign countries besides the US, and I know you've been traveling and I know your story kind of revolves around that. Your first song was called, did you say My Thunder?
Yes.
My Thunder. And then the last one, you said that you taught yourself how to crochet by 14. So that's, once again, that could be like, well, did you do it by 13? Did you do it by 15? Or did you not learn to crochet at all? So we're going to have to try to figure that out. But definitely some interesting things. But let's go ahead and, tell your story, the Chloe story here. Tell us about when you first really started getting into music, and then, what kind of changed just from enjoyment of the music to, hey, you know what? I really want to do this.
So I got my first drum set when I was 2. And I believe it was from a grandparent. I think my dad's dad is the one that cursed the family. I don't know who did, but someone did, and it was terrible, but also amazing. So I started out as a drummer. I had a drum set when I was 2, and it was a little toy one, but very quickly it moved up to like them getting me full kits, if they could get pieces from friends left over. And I would just drum all the time. I was just anything, pencils, sticks, I was drumming. So I joined band in my family moved around a little bit when we were kids, but I joined the band program in school when I entered 5th grade. And my sister was 2 years older. She was in orchestra, so she played cello. So I kind of like knew the ropes. She was like telling me about how much fun it was, all this community. She was like, you're going to have a really good time. I was really nervous because I knew that people said that there weren't a lot of girl drummers out there. But I found my community, and there were a couple with us. And so I stuck with that all through until I graduated high school. I was a part of the percussion in band. I was section leader my senior year of high school. I was in marching band, pep band, I guess technically. We didn't really march. We kind of just stood still. But I would hit the bass drum and do all that. And I could play mallets. I could read sheet music. And somewhere in middle school, I started doing musicals. Middle school, I started doing musicals, and I did all that through all the way till I graduated high school. I joined the choir programs. You know, you could be in band, but then you could also do like show choir and chamber choir. And I started doing that stuff on the side because I knew I loved to sing. I always had that. But what made me want to start writing songs, I say it in every interview, and it's never going to change because it's the truth. I always feel like people are waiting for it to be like something else. Nothing else will ever be it. What happened was in 2008, I watched the CMA Awards or the CMT Awards, and Taylor Swift performed Picture to Burn. And I watched it on the floor of my living room, and I said, that's what I want to do with my life. And that was kind of it. I loved her. I loved Hilary Duff. I loved lyrics. I loved reading people's lyrics, even as a kid, looking them up. So I remember like reading Hilary Duff songs and then like trying to rewrite them. How would I say that if I was writing it? And my parents, I said a little bit, they're preachers and they were church planters. So they worked a lot in youth groups. So I knew a lot of, when I was a kid, they knew a lot of people that were like teenagers or early 20s that did music. So they kind of, not by like on purpose, they would just hear people talking about stuff like that. My dad worked in radio too for a little bit. So they kind of like almost by accident, but I don't ever think anything's an accident. I always think God has a plan. But they kind of accident learned a good amount about the music industry before I really showed how much interest I had in it. So once I knew that I wanted to start writing songs and doing music, it kind of became this game of like, how do I get to Nashville? Because I knew I wanted to do country. My dad's from Kentucky, so just grew up listening to so much country music. I love storytelling, again, the lyrics. So it kind of became this game of like, well, how do I get to Nashville? And my sister playing cello, when she was auditioning for schools, she actually came down here to audition at Vanderbilt. And we were visiting a family friend down here who's a musician. She was recording at a studio in Music Row. And one of the producers said to me, oh, you want to be a songwriter? You should go to Belmont. And my family was like, what's a Belmont? And so I was like, I looked it up and I was like, that's it. I'm going there or I'm going nowhere. Like I'm going there or I'm just moving to Nashville. There's like no other option. And I applied to other colleges, but I knew in my heart I wasn't going to I wasn't going to a SUNY school. I didn't want to go to Murphy's MTSU, Murfreesboro, even 45 minutes. I knew that was too far. Like I knew how I am able to get in my own way. And that if I wasn't in the city of Nashville, this wouldn't really like stick with me so much. But this is where I knew I wanted to be. So I applied over and over and over again. And for the songwriting program, I think I applied 3 times my senior year of high school. And on the 3rd application, my parents got a letter back in the mail. And it was my acceptance letter to the songwriting program. But I didn't know that it was the acceptance letter yet. They didn't open it, but they knew it was. And I was getting ready for my senior year musical was Shrek the Musical. Because we're iconic as a high school. And my parents came like running through the halls of the high school, bringing me this letter to show me that I had gotten accepted into Belmont's songwriting program and that I could go there. And that was it. I knew I was going to move here and pursue this. And yeah, I switched over to guitar. Well, I didn't switch, I kept drumming, but guitar was around like 11 or 12. My grandpa got me my first little baby mini one. And I took some lessons from some people on Long Island, but for the most part, except for one of my guitar teachers was Frank Preselli. He taught me so much as a kid. He really is the OG for my songwriting teachers. But once he got a little bit older, I was able to start kind of taking a little bit to myself and using my musical experience and music theories that I was learning in high school to learn more on guitar. But Frank was an incredible teacher, and I'm so grateful for him too. But that is like really what catapulted it all.
Yeah, that's awesome. And of course, 3rd time sometimes is the charm getting you there to Nashville. You mentioned Velvet Rabbit. Let's go ahead and play that. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about your songwriting.
Yeah.
Does it hurt? Maybe sometimes, but baby, it feels fine in the back of the line. When she asks you to stay a while, do you rack your mind to try to find a reason to let her go? Oh, I know seasons start to flow when you let it show. She's a velvet rabbit with a bad habit and a pack of cigarettes in her little leather jacket. She's a heartbreaker. I'll see you later. I'll get around to it when I meet my maker. Well, God's greatest gift to man happened to be when she let you in. Took you down to worship and weep in a morning breeze and Sunday dream. The preacher is praying to her. All the people pay just to learn that she's a velvet rabbit with a bad habit of forgiving and forgetting where she buried the hatchet. Oh, she's a heartbreaker. See you later. I'll get around to it when I meet my maker. She's a sharp edge, carefully kept, but the doctor said let it burn. Jesus wept when she left my bed. She said when you're really don't mind the hurt, I don't mind the hurt. 'Cause she's a velvet rabbit with a bad habit, and I miss her when I listen to Black Sabbath. She's a heartbreaker. See you later. I'll get around to it when I meet my maker. She's a velvet rabbit, velvet rabbit, my bad habits.
Welcome back once again to Hank's Corner. Hank Jr. here with Chloe Halpin, and we're having a good time. You just heard Velvet Rabbit, she told me a little bit offline here a little while ago that she's doing doing her best not to give away some of these answers. So I don't know if those following along have picked up on anything, but we're getting closer and we'll figure that out. But you had mentioned, and it is pretty cool that you had talked about Taylor Swift and seeing her there on the award show, and then plus having her CD. Don't you miss, or is it just somebody like me when they used to put lyrics in the CDs, or when you actually bought the albums themselves and you got to, read the lyrics, and don't you miss that physical copy and having that, with you?
No, I love CDs. So I have a 10 CD changer in my car that I had my parents put in because I do these road trips traveling with music. I love listening to a whole album. And I will keep the physical CD books with those lyric booklets at my house in Kentucky, so I can flip through them. I think I need to bring them up to New York, though. I'm going to be up there a lot this year. But no, I love looking at those booklets. I love looking at the credits. I want to know who they're thanking. I want to know where you recorded it. If you're putting any secret messages, Taylor Swift used to do like the little capitalizing stuff, so you could know who the song was about. I think it's so cool. And it's a little bit of a lost art. I've bought some, I can't think of examples, but I know I've bought like recent CDs of albums that came out in the last 3 years. And there's not as much. There's no, like, some of them aren't putting the lyrics. They're not putting those little forwards in. They're so cool and unique. And I was even in the studio the other day, just visiting, watching my friend's band record. And they were talking about when they used to put those hidden tracks at the end. You thought the last song was over and it would kind of get quiet, and it wasn't a new track. It was the same track number, but all of a sudden a bonus song started playing, and like those little hidden things. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, definitely a piece of nostalgia that's just not always there anymore. But you know,
Yeah.
when you bring things up like that, it just kind of reminds me of what us older people always like to say is the good old days. But
Yeah.
you know, you'll get there one day. You know, you're young and you got your whole future ahead. But you know,
Oh,
I said I
yeah.
wanted to get back into the songwriting as far as you know where your inspiration comes from. I mean, do you just pick like I'm going to write from the heart, or because I know you said you write things that are real, but how deep do you go, and how do you say, like, you know what, I'm not going to let people into that part of my life?
There's very little that I won't write about. Excuse me. There's very little that I won't write about. It's mostly the performance aspect of it. I don't like to limit what I'll let myself write about. It's whether or not I'm willing to play it out for people. There are some songs that I've written that those are for me. They are about some things that have happened that I don't need to talk about. You know, I've kind of made my peace with it, but they're there if I need them, just for me to listen to. But I usually, yeah, I don't. That's a tough one. That's a good question, man. I don't. I really try not to, especially when I'm in a co-write. I try not to limit too much. But I am very, like I said before, very literal. Like I just like to say things how I'd say them. I like to talk about things I know, and yeah.
Do you remember go ahead.
I do like to write. Like I'll write songs about stuff that I haven't experienced. I wrote a song about getting divorced when I was a junior in high school. I had not experienced that. My parents are also still married. Like, I don't know where that came from. Like, I can do it. I just prefer writing what I know.
Maybe some divine inspiration there. Do you remember the first song you ever wrote? And if so, is that something that you might share, or is it something that you just like, no, I kind of put it away and nobody can listen to that?
I do remember it. I can play it. I could sing it right now, but I think that's especially one of those songs that I'm like, no, this one's for me. And I've always thought like maybe if one day I'm as big as Dolly, I would put it out, but I like to set it at a goal so high that it's almost like that's never going to happen. You don't need to worry about that.
Well, if that does happen, I'm going to play this back for you, and you're going to come out and play that. There's only one person that you know that I'm sure of that's been on this podcast out of 160 some artists that said that, yeah, no, I have my first song, and if somebody requests it, I will play that, and that's Ali Colleen. She's the only one that says, yeah, I will do it, but somebody has to request it. So I always want to ask that, because it seems to be like I haven't found anybody else like that. You also mentioned the co-writing aspect of this, and you said you've been doing a lot of that in Nashville recently. Who are some of the favorite people you like to work with, and how do you work together with somebody else and brainstorm, like, you know, because it's everybody, I've been told it's kind of like sometimes maybe dating, and you might find a writer that's a one night stand, you do it once and then you move on, and then some it's, you know, like you really gel and you continue to do that. So how does that work for you?
I really like to build the personal relationship first, and make sure I connect with the person. But once I've connected with a person really well, if they have someone they want to bring into the room for the first time, I'm usually pretty trustworthy. But I really do. I like to know that I'm gelling real good with someone in the room. And I don't have a lot of high standards for what it takes to write with me. It's just, you know, you got to be open. You got to be fun, positive attitude. And know how to rhyme, you know, make sure you're keeping it rhyming. I like rhymes, but no, I just my favorites right now. I shouldn't say favorites. If I said favorites, we're gonna be here for hours. Um, Recently, I just wrote this past week again with my good friend Sarah Swenson. She is lovely. Her and I, we could sit down and in an hour and a half, we got another song, and I'm like, heck yeah, adding it to my set lists. She's one of those people that I could go into the room with her and she'll have an idea of something that I have absolutely never experienced. I don't know anything about it. And I don't know how, but we're going to get something good. We're just bouncing back and forth. And it's really cool. I've also gotten to write with more recently on a couple other trips, my friend Justin Love and his friend Scott Barrier. That's been really cool. They kind of helped me. One of the co-writes, we did a little genre bending experiment, and that was really cool. I used to do that a lot more in college. When I would solo write, I would try to bend genre, but I feel like you're always going to be your hardest critic. So I never liked it because I was like, it's not country. I'm like, but that was really cool to get to kind of do that as a group collaborative thing to bend genre. But also in the same breath, those two guys and I also wrote one of my most country sounding songs that I wrote recently. It's called Love Me Like a Country Song. And that one I'm obsessed with. I played that out. I just played that at the local. I'll play it as many times as I can, as long as I have my phone holder and I can remember the lyrics. I play it because it's so good. And then I also write with two people. They're my family technically, but it's John Hibbard and his wife Crystal White. John is my brother-in-law's cousin, so we're family. We're all fam. And they're wonderful musicians, performers. They play on Broadway. John's band is John Hibbard and the Haybards. His wife Crystal's in the band. She plays guitar. It's stupid cool. But they're also some people that I can go to their house. We could sit down to write, and it doesn't take long. Like we're just knocking back and forth. They're so country. It's insane. They both grew up on ranches. He grew up in New Mexico, and she grew up in Texas. I love it. Oh my gosh. Being a girl from New York that's always dreamed of writing country music, I'm like, these are the people I want to write with. Yeah. So no, it's been really awesome. And just anytime I come down here now and I get to do these co-writes, I go home or back to wherever I'm touring next, just with so much creative energy and so much passion for the game again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to go ahead and play one of my favorite songs by you, Drinking Alone. And when we come back, we're gonna get to the answers.
Before I even sat down, the bartender knew what to pour. And after a few rounds, I'll forget what I came here for. Well, maybe I dropped by too much, but I need something to erase your touch. And this beats drinking alone, Jack and Flat Coke, crying on the kitchen floor. It beats memories of you loving me and wishing you were at my door. And I can't change you, but the whiskey rearranges how a stranger's wearing your cologne. And this beats drinking alone. Whoa, whoa. Before I even got his name, he was paying for my tab. And I know I'm to blame, but I won't get in his cab. I'm comfortable on this stool, the one you used to sit right next to. Cause this beats drinking alone, Jack and Flat Coke, and crying on the kitchen floor. It beats memories of you loving me and wishing you were at my door. And I can't change you, but the whiskey rearranges how I can't call you cause I can't find my phone. And this beats drinking alone. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everybody says since you left I've got a problem, but the only one I got is that my bottle's at the bottom. And I replay you here saying smoke 'em if you got 'em. And I watch it disappear when she starts last call. Whoa. This beats drinking alone, Jack and Flat Coke, crying on the kitchen floor. It beats memories of you loving me and wishing you were at the door. And to an empty home, 'cause this beats drinking alone. At least I'm not drinking alone.
And you just heard Drinking Alone by Chloe Halpin, one of my favorite songs by her. Of course, I'm Hank Jr. This is Hank's Corner, and we're having a good time here. And, Chloe, I did spend a lot of time, kind of talking about the songwriting aspect of it, because in my opinion, the more I do this, the more I learn. I really want to promote those songwriters because they don't get as much of attention as the front artist. And there's a lot of great songs out there, and I guess people kind of take it for granted. They, whoever's the lead singer, or the solo artist playing it, they're like, oh, that's a so and so song, that's a so and so song, but you never get to see the people behind it, and that's why I really wanted to focus on that. And thanks for sharing that, and thanks for mentioning those names, because I really think people need to hear about that.
No, thank you for providing a platform for us. You're absolutely right. It is so important. A lot of people don't think about where the songs come from. And it comes from people like us just living lives and telling our stories.
Yeah, and I love that. And so I'm going to try to figure out now the two truths and a lie that you told me. So you initially said that you've been to 7 countries outside of the U.S. Your first song was My Thunder, which, you know what, I have to stick myself, about that, because normally I do not say questions and it just slipped my mind because that's a normal question that I always ask. And for some reason, it just didn't dawn on me that you put in there. So I almost made you give it away. So shame on me.
Yeah.
That is my fault, and I apologize. I normally don't do that. But then the last one, that you taught yourself how to crochet by 14. Now, I want to talk a little bit about being to 7 foreign countries, and we're gonna finish that up in a second, because I know that has a little bit to do with your story too, and traveling overseas. I just don't know if you've been to 7 or not. Your first song, My Thunder, and crochet at 14. This is tricky because those numbers are throwing me off, but I am gonna say that you taught yourself how to crochet. You have been to 7 foreign countries, but your first song was not My Thunder.
You were right. That's amazing.
Really? Oh,
yeah, I did
me on that one.
I did the numbers because I was like, oh, he'll get confused and think a number's off and guess one of those. That's so good. Wow.
Okay, well, we know that your first song was your personal song, and we have to wait till you become famous like Dolly before we get to hear that. But tell the audience specifically about your trip overseas. I think it was it like Uruguay or somewhere that you had gone, or where was that where you ended up?
The 7 countries, I do want to say I'm including layovers, but they were such long layovers that we really got to like talk to people and meet, and one of them I was drinking at, so I can't. But no, so 7 countries. Middle school French. We went to Canada. I went on a mission trip to Nicaragua when I was 16. But no, in college, I got to go on a study abroad to Uganda and Zimbabwe.
Uganda, that's what it was.
Yes.
I knew it was
that was, life-changing, as one would expect. But it was stupid cool. And we got to work with the Watoto Church in Entebbe, Uganda. And we got to teach some of the kids how to write songs. I got to teach a songwriting class one day. I got to teach a guitar playing class one day, which I never thought I'd ever do. I do not think I'm talented enough to do that. But those kids really were like just hanging on to every word. And it was so beautiful to watch them start writing their own worship songs. And then we got to do a songwriting workshop with some adults later in the trip, and it was just really cool. So those were the 2 countries that we worked in and stayed at. But then we had a layover in Amsterdam getting overseas, and I do include that one because that was a long layover. And then we had a layover in Kenya. I guess you could count that and make it 8, but I don't really count that one because it was short. We had a layover in South Africa. That was a really long one. And that was cool. It was in Johannesburg. But we were technically at one point we stayed on a riverboat docked on Zambia. So we were technically in Zambia too. So weird, but like lots of little passings in the moment. But it was just so beautiful and so life changing. And yeah, I would never in a million years trade that experience for anything else. That was really cool.
Yeah, traveling is pretty cool. We're going to keep it at 7 countries because, like you said, then I get it right. So we're going to say that you've been to 7 countries.
Yeah.
And, I would love to spend more time and maybe on a subsequent podcast or something later hearing about some of these mission trips because I definitely, like to promote that on my podcast as well. But we have a little bit of time left just for the rapid fire round. And we're going to start that off with, you're talking about crochet and, what are some of the favorite things that you like to crochet?
I can make circles, squares, and rectangles. And so scarves and blankets and little oven mitts things to put your hot plate on. That's it. Okay. That's all I can make.
Well, those 3 shapes can turn into a whole bunch of different things. So we'll say you could do a lot more that you're a pro at that. And, you mentioned also the theater arts and plays and stuff like that, given the opportunity to be asked for any performance, like what play would you like to star in?
Oh my gosh. Les Mis, Eponine. Hands down.
That's awesome. And that's one of my favorite and one of my wife's favorite as well. We just saw that last time we traveled. I don't even remember if it was New York, but we just saw it not too long ago. And, Brooke Moribor, who's been on my show before, actually played young Cosette when she was little. So I think that's pretty cool. That
I know, Brooke. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Now you can tell her about that, that you heard that she played little Cosette. I didn't know
she did that. Oh my gosh, Brooke.
Yeah. Well, you need to go back and watch my podcast of her and learn all about that.
Yeah. I didn't know she did this one either. I was listening to some. I didn't know I knew anyone that did it.
Yeah. So she's definitely awesome. And, maybe you'll get that call one day. Favorite comfort food.
Oh, comfort food, pizza. I'm a New Yorker. I like New York pizza.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we just had some of that this weekend. There's very few places that, actually have the good New York pizza here in Florida, but there are some places and we made sure we got that. Favorite drink?
Diet Coke water. I love water, but if for a fun drink, Diet Coke.
Okay, nice and simple. And I know you've traveled quite a bit, but given the opportunity to go somewhere, what's on the top of your bucket list?
This is going to sound so strange because I'm like 4 hours from it right now, but Memphis, I really want to. I have been dying to go to Memphis and play in Memphis, and an opportunity has yet to arise. So if you're from Memphis and you're listening, call me.
Yeah, definitely. And that would be pretty awesome. And the last question I'm going to ask is, so if you notice, I don't have you up on my wall here because I haven't gotten to see you perform in person, but given the opportunity that somebody came to one of your shows, what should they expect from a Chloe Halpin show?
You're going to have fun. That is my only goal when I'm on that stage, is to make sure you're having fun. I like to laugh. I like to tell really bad jokes. And if you look like you're not having fun at my show, we're doing something wrong. So you're going to have fun.
All right. Well, I definitely want to get to one of your shows to have some fun, whether it be in the Nashville area, if you come down to Florida, maybe over there in Memphis, or maybe back up in the New York area. One of these days, hopefully, I'll be able to make that happen. But in the meantime, Chloe, it's been, you were such a great guest. If you ever want to be on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to do so.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hank. This was awesome.
Will I push the limits past the speed? Never think of what I need. Just start going for the glory. And I push my luck until I bleed. I should spend more time on my knees in a church on Sunday morning. But my hopes and heads in the clouds. I asked, but they ain't coming down. So I just think I need a little me time. I called my girls and bought some pink wine, and I'm gonna cry how they didn't treat me right. and say I need a mini vacation, but I'm higher than my expectations. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, drive my whole life to chase a dream. I wouldn't change a single thing, and I don't like to think before I speak. I want things extra neat for people to like the way I sing, but my hopes and heads in the clouds, I don't think they're ever coming down. So I just think I need a little me time. I called my girls and bought some pink wine, and I'm gonna cry how they didn't treat me right, and say I need a mini vacation, but I'm higher than my expectations. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, well, if I let them lower, then I won't get disappointed. But if I move any slower, then everything seems pointless. So I just think I need a little me time. I called my girls, they bought me pink wine, and I'm gonna cry how he didn't treat me right, and let this be my mini vacation, while I'm higher than my expectations.